Okay, so our class today, we're kind of doing a peak pose structure, which is like we build up and prep the body for one pose that we're aiming for. That doesn't necessarily make the pose any better than any other pose. So if you hate it, don't feel bad. It's more just an approach to kind of prepping the body. So our peak pose this week is going to be dancer's pose. And this is ambiguous because in LYT Yoga, we call dancer's table, which is like a variation of side plank where you pop that foot behind the leg. We call that's dancer's table, but if we're speaking quickly, we often will just say dancers, but actual dancers is like a balancing pose on one leg, and we'll do it towards the end of the flow or as we're building towards it, but it requires a lot of opening in the chest, a lot of strength in the glutes. So we'll be prepping the opening in the front of the hips, strength in the glutes, and then opening the chest throughout the class. So the first kind of sequence is going to be more chest and shoulders oriented, and then the latter part of the class will probably integrate the hips a bit more. As always, modify as you need. Don't do something if it's not working for you. And let's go ahead and get started. There's some type of landscaping noise happening, so sorry if you hear it. If you're using that playlist, I'll cue you when to start it and I'll be following along. All right, so we'll start with our low bridge as we always do. And feel free to take a second on your back here to just land for a moment. Wow, that leaf blow is very loud. We'll take our hands to the belly, and as you inhale, actively puff the belly up into the hands. Seeing if you can kind of release the activity in the core. A lot of us hold here, so try to let it be supple. And then exhale, let the belly deflate. And at the bottom of the exhale, lengthen your tailbone towards the heels, and we'll lift into your low bridge. As always, if the knees feel wonky here, you can play with walking the feet farther away from you to give that joint a little bit more space. Exhale here. And then we'll start to flap our thighs here. So that's just slightly moving the knees towards each other and out. So kind of like you were flapping wings here. And you won't go so extreme to pull the knees together, but it's probably more just like a couple inches of movement in and out with those thighs. I guess maybe a better way to describe this would be like the thigh master action. You don't have the thigh master, but it helps us get those adductors, the inner thigh, awake. And at the same time as you're doing this, if it feels okay, envision kind of the inside of your pelvis, that bowl shape, and then start to tighten the muscles at the base of the bowl, and almost like they could lift away from the knees. So kind of lifting from that pelvic floor area up away from the knees. There are all sorts of images we can use to dial into that, the deep core area. Knitting together, lifting up, all sorts of stuff. And you can keep flapping the legs if that feels okay. If you're done with it, feel free to stop. But we'll stretch out the wrists, flexing your wrists here, pressing palms up to the ceiling. Let's just spark our hands a little bit. So pull them into fists and open them wide. And let's do a few of those, just closing and opening. Getting a little grip going. And then you can pull back on the right fingers with the left hand. If you're still flapping, let's pause the flap. Exhale here. You're welcome to bring that overhead if you want to bring it into the shoulder a bit more, but no pressure. And then switch hands, left palm pressing up and pulling back on those fingers. Exhale here. Again, if you want to take it overhead, feel free. As you do that, try to sense if the head of your arm bone, the humerus, is kind of popping out of your armpit. And if it is, you might want to lift the arm up a little bit. So sometimes if you go too extreme, it's like the ball almost pops out of the socket slightly. We don't want to do that. We want to stabilize there. And just shake the wrist out, and we'll slowly, as always, descend through the spine there. You can take a moment to settle while I walk the Zoom room. you want to do another deep belly breath, feel free to go for it. And we'll move into our core work. As always, starting with our two options, you can either keep those feet on the floor or have the knees bent over the hips today. We'll interlace the hands behind the head, inhale here. Exhale, peel the head and shoulder blades off the mat. First, just rising up here, trying to lift the tips of the shoulder blade off the floor. And at the same time, pull down into the sacrum with the low belly. So that's going to help trigger your transverse abdominals. They're like a corset shaped muscle, and they'll kind of corset you in there. Inhale, lower. One more, just like that. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Feeling off the floor. Imagining that corset, the TVA, it's the deepest abdominal muscle, drawing towards your midline. And inhale, lower. And we'll start our optional add-ons here. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Finding that stable center first, and then option to add a twist to the left. And also extend that right leg on the diagonal. So you don't want to take it too low to the floor because that's going to probably make holding the TVA harder. And then draw the knee back in, come back to center, inhale, lower. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Pause in center and then twist to the right if that feels okay. And you can extend the left leg on the diagonal. Knee comes back in, inhale, lower. Oh, my core is so sore today. I'm shaking. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Final add-on, you can twist to the left, extend that right leg long, then maybe flare the elbows open without falling onto that left shoulder. Back to center, inhale, lower. Last time, exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Twist to the right. Extend that left leg long. And then you can flare the elbows open, trying not to fall back on your right shoulder. Back to center, ooh, knees in. Just take a moment. Exhale, feeling that heat in the core there. And we'll come up and around to our quadruped here. Take your time to get there. If you need to do a few wiggles on the way, go for it. And if you're using that music, you can go ahead and start the first song. And when you find yourself in that quadruped, let's just actually take a couple cat-cows here, kind of working out the kinks. We'll inhale, open the chest forward, keep holding on to the core there so we're not sinking through the belly. And then exhale, round the back for your cat. Two more, take it in time with your breath. So inhaling as you pull the chest forward and exhaling as you round. Let go in the back of the neck there. So give yourself a moment of relief with the head. Good, and then come back to neutral. We'll wake up the hips first, and then we'll move to wake up the shoulders in this position as well. So let's start with the right leg. We'll flex at the hips, so not moving the pelvis. You'll draw the knee forward as far as you can. Might be only a centimeter, and that's fine. And then you'll reach that right leg back covering. And then I want you to open the pelvis to the right. So we'll use the left glute, wrapping it down towards the heel and open it up. It's a little asymmetrical, but it feels nice in the hip. And then come back to neutral, come through center, and you'll draw that right leg forward again. So flexing in the hip, reach the leg back, and then left glute wraps to open the pelvis up. And we'll just keep doing this series. I want you to be a bit slow in the transition from this open pelvis back to the flexed hip, because it's easy to compromise the neutral pelvis in that transition. So really take your time. We'll do one more. Starting to get these hips lubricated, and then lower the right knee, we'll switch sides. So same thing, check in with the pelvis, doesn't move as that leg draws forward. Reach the leg back and hover, and then wrap the right glute down to open the pelvis left. Coming back through neutral, monitor your pelvis as you go here, and pull the knee forward. So you guys are all kind of the experts on your body and on your tendencies. So if there's an area that you need to kind of slow the pace down or put extra attention to, feel free to do that. We'll do one more set here. And next time that left leg comes to neutral, we'll lower the shins. We're gonna wake up the scapula now, but let's sit back for a second, kind of roll the shoulders. We can get the elbows involved. We're gonna practice this seated first, and then you can try loading it. So I'm gonna turn so my back is to you, so it's a bit more obvious. We've done this before, but they're called scapular cars. They're controlled articulated rotations. You'll reach the arms forward, almost like you were in a plank, and then draw the shoulder blades up the back towards your ears. Reach the shoulder blades forward, so coming to the side of the ribs, and then draw them down the back and then towards your spine as you come through the middle. So they pull up from there, making these big circles down the sides of the ribs, down the back, and then pulling in through the middle. So you can envision the two scapula making these circles together on the back. And you can keep doing it with the arms extended. If you feel a sense like that's kind of in your brain, in your body, you can start doing it with the hands down. I will say having this added load packs a big punch. So don't feel, defeated if you want to go back to sitting on the heels. It takes a lot of attention, but also like small muscular control. We'll just do a few more here. Getting those shoulders nice and awake. As I said, we need a lot of chest opening for dancer's pose. And a lot of that requires back strength. One more circle. Good, and then sit the hips back, take a child's pose. We'll flip the palms, so rolling over the pinky side of the hands. Palms facing up to some degree. And you can recline the torso if that feels okay. As you inhale, let the shoulders almost hunch up towards your ears. And exhale, release. Take one more big breath. And then when you're ready, you'll shift your weight forward, coming to stand, and we'll start with our sun cell one. Finding those feet under the hips here, so those feet are slightly apart. It'll be a little different for each of us. And already here, envision somebody was like kind of swiping the chest open. You have a sense of width here. Inhale, we'll reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Step that right leg back, lower the knee, untuck the toes, half kneel. I love a half kneel, it makes me happy. Reach those arms down by your side, and one at a time, we haven't done it in a while. Roll those shoulders. Finding the reverse direction of that circle that we just found for our cars. Fire that right glute as you're going here. And let the circles go. Plant your hands. Step back for down dog or a plank. In plank, feel those scapula click onto your rib cage. Hold them there. And then exhale, lower the knees and lower to the floor. Scapula stay put. Inhale for cobra. Pull that chest forward. And exhale, we'll meet in that down dog. You can walk the feet in a touch. Step the right foot forward, lower the left knee. Untuck those toes. Inhale, arms lift up first. And then reach them down. Turn that left glute on as you roll the shoulders. Letting the shoulder blade, the scapula be your motor here. You can even start to let the elbows come in a little bit if you want. Release that rolling. We'll plant the hands forward. Exhale, step the back foot in, bend those knees, long spine, inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Left foot steps back, lower the knee, untuck the toes. Inhale, arms reach up here. And then interlace those hands behind the head, elbows wide. And just lean the skull back into the hands. In response, hold on to the front of the rib cage and turn that left glute on. You'll feel that beautiful triple S sensation. Holding on to that, we'll plant the hands forward. Step back for your plank or down dog. If you're in plank, we'll exhale, lower the knees. Lower to the floor, chest stays open. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, down dog, all meeting there. Left foot steps forward here, half kneel. Lower the right knee, untuck the toes. Inhale, arms lift up. And exhale, interlace those hands behind the head, elbows wide. Lean the skull back into the hands. Not so much that we're going into a back bend here, but more so we get that sensation of lift through the back of the skull. Checking in with the front ribs, right glute. And we'll plant the hands forward, exhale, step the back foot in, and we'll rise to stand. Inhale. Starting our first sequence here, same way, we'll exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Right foot steps back, lower that knee, and keep your hands where they are today. So take a second here, draw that left hip crease back. We're gonna try to keep our neutral pelvis in this series. Press into the hands. If you want blocks under them, totally fair game. And then we'll start to extend the back leg, tucking those back toes for a bit of a bent knee pyramid. Gently descending, lower that right knee to tap again. We'll lift up through our bent knee pyramid. This time, weight into the hands, left leg slides back, three-legged down dog. You can bend that knee there and just almost envision the glute extending the hip an inch more. Exhale, step that left foot forward, lower the right knee, returning to your half kneel with the hands down. Lifting up for that bent knee pyramid, keep the spine nice and long. Tap the right knee down and extend. Sweep the left leg back, three-legged down dog. Maybe bend the knee. This time you can try opening up the hip, external rotation. And then step the left foot forward again. Same thing, lower that right knee and extend. Getting things lubricated, as I said, lower that knee and extend. Plant into the hands, we'll swipe the left leg back, maybe bend the knee and open up the hip. This time we'll shift the weight forward, bringing the left shin to the floor, left knee under the hip, open up for your modified side plank. You can reach the right arm up or have it on your hip, whatever works for you. If you'd like, you can lift that right knee, keep reaching the tailbone towards the right heel. Maybe right hand comes to the front of the right half of the pelvis, that pelvic point there. You can bend the right knee and then pulse the right leg back in space. And I want you to use the right palm as an anchor on your pelvis. So it's almost like you were doing this with the front pelvis against a wall. You're not going to spill forward at all, but you'll just keep nice and strong in the front there. Feel that glute getting warm. Of course, if you want to skip the pulse, no big deal. We'll let that go. Bring the right hand to the floor, right toes. Keep the left knee bent if you can, and we'll lift the left leg up for a one-legged plank with a bent left knee. Hold there for a second. Wrap that right glute towards the right heel, and we'll lower to the floor. Keep the chest open. Left leg stays bent here. Anchor the left pelvic point to the floor and the pubic bone. Two options here. You can start pulsing that left leg up, so almost like the foot was reaching towards the ceiling an inch or two. And then the next layer to this, you can goalpost the arms, make fists, turn the thumbs towards the ceilings, and at the same time, pulse your fists up and down with that leg. Now, if as you do this, you feel the low back crunching, dial it back. So maybe take the hands away so you can focus on really anchoring the pubic bone. Or try lifting the belly away from the floor. Woof, we'll let that go, plant the hands. Tucking both toes, we'll rise up to the knees, pressing through the hands for a reverse push-up and lower to the floor. We'll just do 3 of these. Feel the strength of the back, stapling the scapula onto your ribs. Lower to the floor. Last time, we lift up, lift the pelvis to your down dog. Walk the feet in a bit. Big inhale here. Exhale, release. And then we'll step the left foot forward, open to your right for goddess. Let those feet turn in slightly to help out with the hips here. And we'll goalpost the arms. 2 options once again. You can pull the shoulder blades towards your spine to pulse this goalpost back in space. You can also add on a heel lift. So as you pulse back, slight lift to the heels. It's a coordination challenge, so I kind of can't talk and do it. And of course, if you just want to do 1, totally fine. As you pulse here, hold on to the front ribs. And then we'll turn to the front of the mat for a warrior 1. So you'll reach the right arm towards the back of the mat, down and around, and turn the feet to the front of the mat, stepping the right foot slightly wide out to the right to make some room for your pelvis here. Inhale, arms reach up. Maybe interlace those hands and punch the knuckles up to the ceiling. Right glute turns on. And then exhale, hinge in the left hip, keep the spine long. Fingertips come wide on the diagonal. And get some length in the back of the neck. Encourage that left hip crease back in space. And then rotate onto the right toes, lifting that heel. You'll shift the weight forward, standing split. Bending the left knee here, neutral pelvis. Grab your blocks if that's better for your back. And you can stay lifted on the fingertips here, or you can always lower the palms, feel what works. Third option there would always be to add a little hop off the left toes, coming towards a little handstand balance if you want. We'll lower the right foot, bend both knees here, exhale for a second, and inhale, rise to stand. We'll start the other side. Woo, my left hip feels flexed. Exhale, hinge in the hips, hands plant. Left foot steps back, lower the left knee, keep the hands down here. We'll extend for our bent knee pyramid. Take this first one slow. This right leg hasn't quite gotten, we haven't opened the back up very much, so just take a second here. And gently descend the left knee, half kneel. Reaching that left leg a little bit longer here, long spine for your bent knee pyramid. And then plant into the hands, right leg swipes back. 3-legged down dog, bend the knee, and then maybe press that foot up an inch using the right glute. Exhale, step the foot through. Lower left knee for your half kneel with the hands down and lift up, bent knee pyramid. Deepening that right hip crease to keep that neutral pelvis. Right leg swipes back. Bend the knee, this time open up the hip. Lift up in that left shoulder. Step the right foot forward, left knee down and extend. And down and extend. Swipe the right leg back. We'll bend that knee, open up the hip. This time we head to modified side plank. Exhale, bring that right shin to the floor, knee under the hip. Right wrist under the shoulder as you open up. Do whatever you need to with the left arm. And then maybe lift that left leg if it feels accessible. Left hand can come to the front of the left half of the pelvis, that pelvic point there. We can bend the left leg, left knee, and then press the foot back in space. Use the left hand as your anchor for the front of the pelvis so that this is going to help you just use that left glute. You're not going to be doing crazy stuff up top. This is always one of those things that I laugh at because I feel like I'm not moving at all, and yet I'm like breaking into a sweat. Always humbled. Let that pulsing go. If you took it, we'll bring left hand and toes to the floor. Pressing up for that one-legged plank, keep the right knee bent and just extend the hip there. Feel those shoulder blades on the back and then lower to the floor. Exhale, chest stays open. Anchor your pubic bone, your right pelvic point, and we can start these pulses using the right glute to lift that foot up towards the floor. So that's option one. Option two, we add the goalpost and the pulse up top. So you'll make those fists and goalposts, thumbs point up towards the ceiling, and lift the fists up and down. Never passing below our parallel here. And again, if that's too much, if you feel the low back going, back off. Not trying to crunch anything back there. We'll exhale, release, plant those hands for these reverse push-ups. You can tuck the toes. We'll press into the hands and just lift up to the knees. Lower to the floor. Keep the shoulder blades where they are. Press up. Just one more here. Lower to the floor. Press up and lift into your down dog. Walk the feet in a bit. Big inhale. Exhale. And let's step the right foot forward, turning to the left for goddess, facing the side of the mat here. Adjust that external rotation. And then we'll goalpost the arms. Starting to pull shoulder blades towards the spine. Pulse the goalpost back in space. And as you do this, try not to let the head bob forward or the ribs pop forward. Might only be a centimeter, that's okay. Next option is to add those heel lifts. Oof. My inner thighs feel it, as does my brain. Whatever you got going on here, we'll lower, turn for a warrior one facing the front. So sweep the left arm back and around, stepping the left foot slightly wide here. You can make these more like crescent legs if that feels better in the hips. Interlace those fingers, reach the knuckles up. Inhale and exhale, hinging in the right hip here. Keep this pelvis neutral and take the fingers wide, the arms wide up on the fingertips on the diagonal here. Let's take a big inhale and exhale. Drive that right hip crease back in space. And then lift up on the left toes to help you shift forward for a standing L. You can bring the fingers more underneath the shoulders here. Take them up on your blocks, lower the hands, whatever. But keep that bend in the right knee, help you out. Lower that left foot next to the right. Exhale for a second, let's ragdoll, kind of let the torso fall over the legs. And then inhale, lengthen the spine, reach the arms forward and up. Heading to some sun cell A's here. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Head to down dog or plank. If you're in down dog, hang out. If you're in plank, we'll lower the knees and lower to the floor. Hold on to your shoulder blades. Inhale, cobra, feel that chest open. Exhale, lift into your down dog. Walk the feet in a little bit. Feel the crease in the hips here to lift that pelvis up. Inhale, rise on the toes. Exhale, bend the knees and walk or hop forward. Press into the feet, inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Head to your down dog or your plank. From plank, you can lower the knees or lower straight to the floor. Inhale for cobra. And exhale, meet in down dog. Everybody walk the feet in a touch. Inhale, lift into the pelvis there. Exhale, bend the knees and walk or hop forward. Inhale, rise to stand. Last time, exhale, hinge at the hips. Take this in your pace. Step back to down dog or plank. Lower to the floor or halfway. Inhale, cobra or pull through for up dog. And exhale for down dog. Big inhale here, rise up on the toes. Exhale, bend the knees and walk or hop forward. We'll start from the top here. Inhale, arms lift. And exhale, hands to heart center in prayer. Step the left foot wide and then cross the right foot behind for curtsy squat, sitting back in the hips. Coming through center, step right foot wide and cross, curtsy squat. You can swing the arms back as you step through center and bring them back to prayer, swinging them low and back to prayer. So we're just going side to side here, managing this pelvis through our hip flexion. Later, we'll give an option to add a hop here if you'd so choose. It's a hot one today, so mind what you need. And let's pause on your left side next time that right leg is crossed behind. We're gonna add a bit of a series here. Left hand comes to the left hip crease, right fingertips to the floor. Maybe reach the right leg back for this modified airplane. Press into the left foot, wrap the left glute down to bring you up for a stork pose. Right knee lifts, punch that left arm up to the ceiling. Cross the right knee behind again for your curtsy, hands in heart center. Right fingertips to floor, left hand to pelvis, reach the right leg back, airplane variation. Press into the left foot, use that glute rise. Stork pose, right knee lifts. One more time, just like that, cross it behind, curtsy squat. Fingers to the floor, other hand to the pelvis, right leg reaches back, neutral pelvis here. Wrap that left glute down to help you rise up. Right knee punches. This time we'll cross it behind for curtsy. I know you're feeling it in the left glute. We'll have release in a second. From here, instead of lifting to stork, we'll press up, externally rotate the right hip for tree, letting that right foot just gently rest on the left leg. Hands can come to heart center. You could extend them up. And then from here, left hand comes to the left half of the pelvis. Right hand comes to the left thigh as we shift for a bent knee airplane. Right leg stays bent here. I know you feel it. Hold on. That left glute has you. And then switch so that the left hand comes to the thigh. Right hand reaches back towards the right foot maybe. And you can press into the left hand, keeping this pelvis neutral. This is our dancers. It doesn't have to feel crunched in the back. In fact, it shouldn't. It should feel strong in that left glute. And then lower the right foot. Windmill to the back of the mat, sweet relief. Warrior two, bending into that right knee and hip. Reach the arms wide. Let's just take a second. Get some relief in this left leg. And we'll take a warrior variation, right forearm to thigh. Inhale through center and reverse. Right arm over the ear. And one more, warrior variation. Reverse it. Now we're heading to something we don't do super frequently, but just listen to the transition. We'll stay lifted here, but start to turn to the opposite side of the mat, bringing the fingers to the floor and keeping the legs fairly apart for a nutcracker. So that right leg is gonna cross in front of the left leg. I'm gonna re-cue that transition because it was confusing. So the legs stay where they are in space. You just swivel in space. So you'll end up with the right leg crossed in front of the left. So we turn to the opposite side of the mat. Toes will end up facing that side of the mat. Left leg's long, right knee's bent. I'm on the outer border of my left foot. If having the fingers on the floor feels awful, you can bring the hands to the right thigh. If you want to add a bit of a shimmy in the ribs, go for it. Woo! And then we'll unwind to the front of the mat, so take it to the left. Turning around the other side of the mat, plant your hands and come to a plank here. Lower to the floor in any way you need. Anchor the forehead to the floor or your mat. We'll make fists with the hands and punch those knuckles next to our rib cage into the floor. With the head staying anchored here, just use the strength of your back to lift the knuckles off the floor. So you'll feel those scapula pull towards the spine a bit, and release. And lift. And release. Hold on to your low belly here. Turn your glutes on. Release. One more. And release. Unfurl the hands. Tuck those toes. Lift to your down dog. Big inhale here. Exhale, release. And walk or hop forward. Whoa, I caught some air there. Inhale, rise to stand. And exhale, hands to heart center. We'll step the right foot wide, coming to our curtsies here, left leg behind. And maybe swing the arms back in between, stepping to the left. Sorry about that one transition. Now that we've done it once, hopefully on the other side, it will feel less like getting slapped in the face. Moving side to side as you come through center here, try to sense that the tailbone's really reaching towards the floor to keep that back lengthened. Next time you cross the left leg behind the right, we'll pause and take our series. Right hand comes to the right pelvis, left fingertips to the floor, left leg reaches back, airplane variation. Wrap the right glute down, take your time here. Left knee lifts for stork, maybe punch the right arm up. Left leg crosses behind for curtsy. Right hand to pelvis, left fingers to floor. Wrap that right glute and lift, punching right arm, left knee lifts. Curtsy squat, left knee behind. Airplane variation, left fingertips to the floor. Wrap that right glute for stork, left knee lifts. And now we're heading to our dancers for a moment. So cross for your curtsy. From here, we'll rise up to a tree pose. Externally rotate that left leg, sliding it up the right. Hands can come to prayer or extend up. Pelvis should be neutral here, kind of like pelvic points pointing forward. And then heading to dancers, you've got it, moment of truth. We'll bring the left hand to the right thigh, right hand to right pelvis for a double bent knee airplane. Nice long spine here. Switching our hands, that right hand comes to the right thigh, left arm reaches back for the inner border of the foot, and then press down to help you extend for your dancers. Peak pose here. Holding onto the pelvis. We're not going for that gymnastics bend here, but more for a lift and strength. Release that left foot, windmill to the back, warrior two. Give yourself a second. That right glute earned it. Inhale. Exhale, warrior variation, left forearm to thigh. Ooh, that feels so nice. Inhale and reverse, left arm over the ear. Warrior variation, one more time. Wrap that left sits bone underneath and reverse it. Here we go, we're heading to that nutcracker. Better hope for language this time. We'll turn to our left, keeping the legs as they are, just swiveling the pelvis. So let the feet come with you. Left leg will cross in front this time. Right leg is extended. Maybe you're on the outer border of that foot. Again, if you want some more lift for the back, use those hands on the left thigh. You can add the rib shimmy, moving it side to side here. Oh, you'll feel it in that outer hip. And then we'll unfurl, coming around the back of the mat, the opposite side of the mat, and coming to a plank at the top. This plank feels easier than any of the others. And then lower to the floor. Punch those knuckles into the floor just next to the rib cage. Anchor your pubic bone here. I should have said that the first time. Turn the glutes on. Lower the forehead to the floor. And then using the strength of that upper back, you'll lift the knuckles off the floor. Hold that low belly so it protects the low back. And release. 3 more, we'll lift. And release. And lift. And release. 1 more, lift it. And release. Plant your hands, tap those toes. Let's go straight to a child's pose, actually. So you can unfurl the feet if you want. Big inhale here. Oh, exhale, let go. You can flip the palms once again here, opening them up towards the ceiling. Oh, big stability in this class. And when you're ready, we'll start to string things together. So take your time to come to standing. If you need a sip of water, I don't have mine, but that's okay. If you need a sip of water, grab some. Do a quiet, joyous dance by yourself, and we'll get started. So for the most part, what we're doing is the same. We are going to throw a dancer's table in during the stream, so I will say dancer's table to be more clear. But other than that, we've done everything before. It's just new iterations of stuff. All right, feel how open you feel at the top here. These glutes have been working hard, but they feel strong and we're supple now. And we'll take this with us into our more fluid movement. So inhale, reach the arms up. Here we go. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands plant. Right leg steps back for a low lunge here. Lower the right knee. You can keep the toes tucked. Option 1, same thing. We'll extend the pelvis up and then slide the left leg back. 3-legged down dog. You can bend the knee and externally rotate the hip. So that's option 1. Step the left foot through and lower the right knee. Option 2, as you start to lift the right leg, you'll shift the hands forward, coming to a bent knee, standing L on the left leg. Plant into the hands, we'll sweep the left leg back, bend the knee, open up the hip. So those are your 2 options here. Left leg steps through, you can head to pyramid or a standing L, lifting the right leg. And then shift back, 3-legged down dog. We'll do 1 more, whatever you're doing. If you take the standing L and you want a little handstand hop, go for it. And then we'll sweep the left leg back. Bend that knee. You can take a few hip circles here. Keep the weight in the hands and take it in the other direction. Heading to modified side plank, we'll lower the left shin to the floor. Open it up here. Instead of a pulse this time, you can bend the right knee and maybe grab the top of the foot if that feels okay. If not, you can keep that right leg on the floor. You can keep it straight and lifted, whatever feels good. You can even pop this right foot behind you for a 1-arm table, lifting the hips up, weighting into the left hand. Exhale. We'll all turn for that 1-legged plank variation, keeping the left knee bent, weighting into the right foot. Instead of lowering, we'll flip over our right side dancer's table, reaching the left arm over the ear, left toes land on the floor. Coming back to center, come to plank and lower to the floor. Chest opener here. You can inhale, pull the chest up, fly the legs and arms back. Option 2 is to bend the knees, maybe grab the inside of both feet with the hands and press the feet into the hands for a bow pose. If you are in bow though, keep the pubic bone anchored. It's coming from the glutes, nobody's surprised. And we'll exhale, release, lift into down dog. Walk the feet in a bit, big inhale. Exhale, lift the left leg up, 3-legged down dog. Step the foot through, open up for goddess, facing the right side of the mat. You can just add some pulses here. Lately, I've been liking making this kind of circular motion with my hands as I do it. If you want to do that, go for it. We also can just have the arms out wide. Now we're going to turn to the front of the mat and immediately head to a curtsy. So you'll turn to the front, right leg crosses behind. Heading straight to our airplane, you can put the right fingers down or fly the right leg back with the arms back. Lift the right knee up for stork, maybe adding a twist this time to the right. We'll head to a tree here. Externally rotate the right hip, right foot lands on the left. You can even add a twist through the ribs to the left. Undo your tree. We're heading to our dancer's pose, moving through a double bend knee airplane here. And then left hand to the left thigh, right hand to the right foot. Press into it and rise. Neutral pelvis, long spine. Keep rooting that tailbone towards the floor. Undo it one more time of this series. Right leg behind the left for curtsy. Woo! Airplane variation, whatever you want. You can fly the hands back or fingers on the floor. Press into that left foot. Right knee lifts for stork. Maybe add a twist to the right. Right foot lands on the left leg for tree. Maybe twist left. And last time we head to our dancers, moving through a bend knee airplane first, and then left hand to the thigh to help you transition here. Let it go, we'll windmill to the back, warrior two, right knee is bent, and reverse it. Warrior variation, right forearm to thigh. Well, reverse was good. If you want here, you can take this into a half moon, stepping that left foot in a bit, shifting over the right leg. You can keep reversing in warrior variation in that warrior two if you don't want to take half moon. We'll all bring the fingers to the floor, cross the left knee behind the right leg, turn for a seated twist. Sitting onto the pelvis, facing the opposite side of the mat. And let's side bend to the right here. Left arm coming over the ear. Anchor that left half of the pelvis. Big inhale. Exhale, release. Rise back up to vertical. We'll unwind to the left. We've got one more side to go. Coming back to the front of the mat. Step the right foot in. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Hands plant. Left leg steps back for your half kneel. Keep those hands planted. Option one, we lift to pyramid and then sweep it back. Right leg lifts, bend the knee, open up the hip. Step the right foot forward. Option two, we lower that left knee. As we start to lift up, shift the hands forward. Standing L, lifting the left leg up. Lowering the toes and right leg swings through. So pick your poison here. You could move between the two. And then kind of the final iteration would be to add that little handstand hop from your standing L. Only if that's fun. We'll do one more round here. I'm waiting for this beat to drop. Hopefully, if our music is synced, you might feel that too. Modified side plank, lower the right shin to the floor. Reach that left leg back. You can lift it if you'd like. You can bend the knee and grab the top of the foot with the left hand. Press that glute forward to open up the front of the hip. It's coming, I feel it. You can flip it for a table if you'd like, stepping the left foot behind you, planting the right foot, pressing into the right hand. We'll all come around one-legged plank with a bent right knee. And then instead of lowering, we're flipping over the left side, dancer's table. Oh yeah. Right arm over the ear, tapping those right toes down. Coming to plank, hand returns, foot returns, lower to the floor. Inhale for locust or take that bow, grabbing the inside of the feet. Keeping the pubic bone weighted. And exhale, plant the hands, down dog. Walk those feet in a touch, big inhale. Exhale, lift the right leg, three-legged down dog. Step it forward for goddess. Turn to the side of the mat. You can add these pulses here. Option to add the kind of billowy arms. I don't know why I like this, but it feels good. And turning to the front of the mat, we're heading to curtsy. Left leg crossing behind. We'll head straight into our series here, extending the left leg back for airplane. Left fingers can come to the floor. Press into the right foot, left knee lifts, stork. Maybe add a twist to the right. Left hip opens and the foot plants on the leg, maybe twist to the right here. Heading to dancer's table, we'll reach the left leg back, keeping it bent for a bent knee airplane. Right hand to the thigh, maybe grab the inner border of the left foot for your dancers. Stick with that bent knee airplane if you want. One more time, crossing left leg behind, curtsy. Reaching it back, airplane, shift into the right foot. Press into the right foot, left knee lifts. Stork, maybe twist to the left. And then head to tree, left foot plants, maybe twist to the right. Heading to a double bend knee airplane, bend into the right knee, left leg reaches back. And then switch hands here. Final dancer's option. Feeling the rise, the lift. And let that go, windmill to the back, warrior two. We made it. Inhale, exhale, reverse. Left arm over the ear. Inhale through center, warrior variation. Left forearm to thigh. And reverse. If from here you want to take it into half moon, you'll step that right foot in and shift the weight forward. Oof, this dresser's freaking me out. Otherwise, you keep doing that reverse and warrior. And then we'll all head to seated twist. Fingers to the floor, bend that right knee behind, feet turn to the side of the mat. Left hand plants side, bend to the left. Oh, it feels good. Exhale, release. And we'll rise to vertical. From here, we'll head to our back so you can just uncross the legs. Let's take a figure four. One of my faves. If you want to take a pigeon instead, feel free. When you get to your back, just be really heavy for a second, like you were splatted onto the floor. That was a lot. That class required a lot of stability, groundedness. My face is tomatoey. I feel alive, the pulse. I hope you guys do too. And then we'll briefly take a figure four here. So you can cross the left ankle over the right thigh and then draw the right thigh towards you. Maybe not using the hands there, but instead using the deep abdominal strength. Keep lengthening the back of the neck, encouraging the chin towards the throat. You can stay here. You could wrap the hands behind the right hamstring. Another nice thing that I like is flipping this shape into a bit of a twist. So you just let the legs fall to the right and you land on that left foot. It kind of changes where in the hip you feel the stretch. And if that's too much, this is totally accessory. You don't have to do it. Exhale. If you took the twist variation, we'll come back to vertical, drawing the shape back towards you. And then we'll all lower the right foot and switch legs. Left foot lands, right ankle crosses over left thigh. As always, don't crank on that knee. And then use the strength of your abdominals to draw the left thigh towards you. Lengthening the back of the neck, check in on the chin. Option to interlace those hands behind the thigh here, or you can take this to the twist, lowering the legs to the left side, landing on that right foot. Oof. Probably feels different side to side. And if you took that twist, we'll take it back to our backs. And let's uncross the legs, maybe pull them towards you to some degree. If you want, you can draw the head towards the knees, maybe wrap in a little ball. And then head to any shape that's calling you for Shavasana today. You can skip to the next song if you'd like on the playlist. And we'll take a few moments in Shavasana. Feeling the heat of the day in the air, feeling how it's kind of thick and moist, but also maybe the heat inside of you, what we call the tapas in yoga. This inner fire we can stoke through movement and intention and strength. That often takes us to places we didn't really know we could access. So sense that burn for a moment. And then as you exhale, try to detach from that. Letting your body be heavy into the floor. Releasing any thoughts that might pop up. They will. But just let them dissolve as soon as they come. If you'd like to stay here longer today, mute your video, stay as long as you'd like, really soak it in. You are ready to move. On your next inhale, start to extend the fingers, opening the palms wide, almost envisioning there was energy in that palm, like a ball of energy or something. And then exhale, release that extension, let the fingers curl again. On this next inhale, you can open the palms again, maybe even reach the arms overhead or limbs out in space. Feeling that ball of energy move more into your limbs, into your torso. Exhale, release your stretch here. If it feels natural for you, you can come up to a seated position. Taking our final moment together here. Take a moment to just find some gratitude for yourself, for all that you're handling every day, and for making space to do what you need to do to feel your best. I'm honored to share this practice with you. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Let's go get them. I'll stick around if you guys have questions. I hope you feel a little buzzy like I do. Otherwise, if I don't see you, it's been a wonderful semester. Thank you so much. And if I do, I'm back Wednesday and Thursday. So I hope to see you soon.
Meredith.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Keith.